Welcome back to Tin Man Customs, where we're getting ready to start another figure. And as you can see here, we've got Alpha Bravo. Why am I using Alpha Bravo? Well, reason being, I inherited a bin of figures from a close friend of mine, and he had a lot of duplicates, and in the bin there were, I believe, 2 or 3 Alpha Bravos. He likes to have uniformity in his combiners, but he was downsizing his collection a little, and I ended up with these. So I'm going to try and make a Devcon figure. I had the Botcon set that came out a few years back with the Pirates versus Knights, and really liked the Devcon figure in that set, but didn't really care for the mold of the Generation Scourge that they used on that mold. Now, I've seen a lot of Devcon figures done custom online where they've used Titan's Return Scourge, straight up repaint, you know, change up his face a little, that sort of thing. So I didn't really want to go with that. I kind of wanted to try to do a combiner figure with the headmaster, Titanmaster gimmick on him. So that's kind of why I lean towards this, because I've got multiples of the mold. I still have one that's in my collection on my shelf, but then I've got a few extras, so I figured we'll give him a shot and see if I can't turn him into Devcon. I figured his helicopter mode, maybe remove a few items like the propeller and the fin back here, he could probably start looking like a spaceship. And I believe I've got some wings I can put on him. It would probably end up being on his shoulders. At least that's the plan. Like I said, I know he didn't have wings coming off his shoulders on the original character, but, you know, we'll see how this shakes out. So I'm going to go ahead and get this guy taken apart, and we'll kind of piece some things together and see how he works. All right, guys. So what I've done here is been trying to work on adding a lot of the base figure stuff before I take him apart to do the full paint job on him. And grabbed a blaster from one of the Generation Scourge figures. Not going to need the blaster to transform, so I've glued it in place there so it doesn't close every time it gets bumped here. But drilled a hole here in the arm so we can mount that on the side. Like Devcon had a blaster on his arm. The wings, I know the character didn't have wings coming off his arms, but for his vehicle mode I wanted the to look more like a spaceship than a helicopter. So let's see, we'll transform him in just a sec here, but added a scope thing on top of the head there. It's a little short just so he can still transform. Might have a little bit of a weird thing there, but it is what it is. So the addition of the wings will hopefully make this look a little bit less like a helicopter, in theory. So he's a little more space shuttle-y, spaceship, fighter ship sort of looking thing. And the blaster fits into that peg there just fine. So he's heavily armed. This I've added, it still comes off because he can still be a combiner limb, but just drilled a hole there, removed the tail off the rear of the helicopter. But this not only gives him storage for this, it gives him a jetpack in robot mode, which, hey, every good bounty hunter needs a jetpack, right? But it also, opening it up like that, this is a little stretching. This is probably stretching a little, but it gives me a spot to put the headmaster in ship mode. And he's got a gunner station there on the outside of the ship, because why not? But it gives him a seat. So I think he's pretty much ready to roll. I'm going to get him taken apart and spray paint it up, and we'll see what he looks like. Okay, so he's got all the blue and a little bit of the red sprayed on there. I've got a few spots that need to be hand painted with red, so I'm going to get him put back together first and paint in the details. Gang, and here he is in his final look at him. Let's see, I think he turned out pretty decent with all the added accessories we put on there. The head mode ended up working just fine with the combiner port still in there. There's just a hole in the top there. He's got his arm-mounted blaster and the combiner limb. The combiner limb still fits in the back there, so he looks like he's got a jetpack. As I believe I said earlier in the video that, you know, 80s bounty hunter has to have a jetpack. Now, the character of Devcon only showed up in, I believe it was just one episode of the original cartoon, and they never made a toy of him, and it was a space-oriented episode, which was very unique, I thought, especially since it was before the '86 movie, where it kind of took the whole storyline into space. So it was interesting to see them do an episode with a character like that. In the same episode, the Smokescreen was one of the prominent characters in the storyline. And since they did a Combiner Wars figure of Smokescreen, that was kind of a reason that I wanted to try and do Devcon as a Combiner Wars figure. And, you know, let's move them back here, because we had another space related character here in Skylinks, who is a torso for one of the Combiner Wars figures. So it was kind of the reason I wanted to do him up in Combiner Wars. There was to have a more space themed combiner team. I know Smokescreen here turns into a car, but he was in that episode where they were off in space. So that was kind of my thought process behind why I chose to do him like that. So we'll get these out of the way here. As far as his headmaster goes, I used the Ptero mold with added some accessories there. But in the episode with Devcon, he had there was an alien that he met in the episode and saved and ended up partnering with at the end of it, named Slizardo, who was a lizard type alien with an eye patch. I ended up using the Ptero faceplate as the main face of Devcon there, with a added mount on his head there. And the body of the Titanmaster here is from the Twinferno figure. I figured he looked a little more beastly and alienish with his eye patch. Granted, this is a lion more than lizard, but I wasn't about to try and sculpt up on the head, since that ends up being the main connector port for the figure. But I thought that was a logical character to have him partner with. So let's move that back out. And we'll go ahead and get this guy transformed. Spaceship mode, and we had an extra top spin from the Titan's Return line that mounted those wings on his shoulders. And again, the combiner hand and foot piece here can become like a gunner chair for Slizardo there. The thumb can loop over the end of the cannon on the forehead there, which solves that problem because he's not going to fit inside one of the Titan Returns figures. And that allows him to still fit on there, and the ship is still swooshable. Now, I know that stretches a lot of the imagination there in order to have the pilot on there, but it sort of works. The character's silly, the character's fun, and I think it works. I think it works pretty well. The Autobot symbols, as always, they're stickers from Toy Hacks. I'll put a link in the description for their website, as well as any of the paints I used on this. And there he is. We'll go ahead and get him put back in robot mode for final thoughts. Here we go, and a final look at him. I'm pretty pleased with the way he turned out. It's definitely an odd choice of a base figure, I know that, but as far as coming up with this character, I dig it. I think it'll be cool once I figure out who else I'm going to do as the rest of the combiner parts for him. I haven't figured that one out yet, but that'll be coming up in maybe a few more videos. All right, but beyond that, let me know what you think. If there was another figure you would prefer to see this character made from, maybe you prefer the Scourge figure as this character, which, you know, it makes sense based on the Botcon figure that came out. But look in the description below for any of the paint that I used, in case you're interested in painting one of these up yourself. And also check out the links below for some of my other videos. Go ahead and subscribe if you really like what you see, because I'm always trying to put these things together and put some videos out. Go ahead and follow on Instagram at tinman_customs, and I will get back to work on one of my other customs. Thanks a lot for stopping by.